Are you enjoying purple filling your entire screen? Well, I hope so, because that's what today is. Today is going to be purple hair ladies video. I am quite excited to test Chevreuse. We have Chevreuse on Polearms only here. We have Chevreuse maxed out for funsies, at least for most of this video. I think I'm going to stick with Chevreuse on her Staff of Homa DPS oriented build because I find it fun. And look how good it looks on her. Ultimately, for our purposes, I do not think it will make that much of a difference for the total team's performance, whether or not Chevy is on a DPS build or a healing build. Before we get started here, the one thing I do want to talk about real quick in the context of Polearms only is, you know, we're limited to polearm characters. And Chevreuse wants you to build Chevreuse wants you to build Pyro and Electro characters specifically, and we don't have many Electro options, so for this account, because of the fact that we have, you know, off-field Pyro options in the form of Toma and Xiangling, it would have actually been better for me if she was an Electro unit. But I still think we're going to have teams that perform pretty well, like with Raiden here. One of the notable things that Chevreuse should enable is actually a traditional build on Raiden. I think, you know, a traditional, just go all in on the crit stats and get some ER with, you know, your engulfing lightning instead of you being a weirdo like me playing a hybrid build. And wham blam, Raiden Shogun can work on a traditional build, I think, on this account now. I still think hybrid might be better, but we're going to test that this video. So all in all, I'm going to test out Raiden teams for Polearms only. I'm going to test out Cyno, because I think Cyno might actually be a lot better on Polearms only now that Chevreuse exists. And then I'm also actually going to test out variations with Hu Tao as well, which might seem weird, but we'll get into it. Do let me know if you want to see a DPS Chevy build video, like a crit Chevy build focused video, where you know, I play around with how Chevy could even potentially be used to do, I don't know, vape shenanigans. That would be, of course, something I would do on my main account, not on a Polearm only account. So anyways, I don't know if I'm going to make that at this point because it takes a lot of resources to build characters. So let me know if you want that. Anywho, enough rambling, let's get into it. Instead of Masanor, I think I'm going to use this butthole to test out some of our teams. Really? I hit the stairs there? Oh, I guess it was fine that I hit the stairs because, you know, the first build I want to test out, we're going to check how Raiden does with Chevy on a normal traditional build, because the main thing with a traditional emblem build on Raiden is that, you know, you want to buff Raiden. So you can do something like Xiangling, Bennett, and Xingqiu, right? Raiden National. But we don't have a Bennett on this account. But now we kind of do have a Bennett on this account thanks to Chevreuse. So I have already played a little bit with this team with Raiden on her hybrid build, which is, you know, this weird build with 650 EM. And I will have a separate video on this, including a separate video where I'm activating Raiden's constellations and seeing how good those are. It should be coming out actually the day after this video. Anyways, point being, Raiden on a traditional build is something that I think might actually make sense now. So I'm going to go through my artifacts and see what the best normal-ish Raiden build I can get configured is with my artifacts. I will give Raiden Xiangling's signature weapon. And in fact, I think I'm also going to take a lot of Xiangling's best artifacts. So we're going to hurt our Xiangling build a little bit here, but whatever, it's fine. Wow, this is the best attack percent timepiece I have on Emblem, by the way. I have spent an actually absurd amount of resin in Emblem, and yeah, the fact that that's my best piece is sad. Alright, so we have a traditional Raiden build on Engulfing Lightning, 4-piece Emblem. What does our stats look like? 238 ER is pretty good. The crit rate's a little bit... it's fine. It'll be fine, don't worry about it. Yeah, I have absolutely no idea what to expect for damage from Raiden here. I suspect this build will probably get more damage on Raiden's damage specifically. Let's see. Nice 141,000. This is a C0 Raiden. It's honestly really good in my opinion. With a okay crit ratio. The interesting thing here to compare will be how this compares with my hybrid build, right? My hybrid build, notably, can get less damage than this build can for Raiden's like crit-based damage, but you get a lot of additional overloads. Like you see the overloads that are 5,000 damage here from Raiden. Those overloads would be more like 17k if I was using the hybrid team. And notably, that's overloads that she can get 17k damage when she is off-field. And yeah, I don't know. This is pretty good. I might try this more in Abyss, but against this butthole, it's pretty good. I don't know how much HP this dude has, but it's a lot. I just checked at level 93. I believe this dude has like 2.5 million HP about. I could be wrong on the exact number. It's not really that important. Point is, he's a sufficiently tanky enemy, and that was a pretty good performance. Alright, before I have to go change my artifacts off of Raiden back to her hybrid build, I wanna test here in Abyss real quick to see how we perform here. Well, you know, I probably... one thing that's a little bit weird with Chevreuse is I don't know it's necessarily better, you know, to use her C4. Oftentimes it's probably very much not, is my guess. But it's fine. It's satisfying. I don't care. And we'll do it here, and we can probably save Raiden's burst. Yep, it's in this next phase now. Okay, good. And of course it's the one with the long animation. I didn't get any particles there. What a butthole. Whatever, let's just get things going, and let's do a big Raiden. Boom. Nice 160k. This thing takes more damage when it's down here like this. Yeah, I can't say this feels noticeably better than when I tested her initially. It was in my initial video when I wished for Chevreuse. I tested Raiden on the hybrid build that I showed previously, and it honestly felt very similar. The primary obvious benefit a traditional Raiden build has with Chevreuse here on my main account is that front-loading damage can be potentially situationally better than, you know, having damage that's more divided over time. But it really just depends on the situation, ultimately. Oh, by the way, I don't think I mentioned one interesting thing with Chevreuse C6 here. So you can see it says, after 12 seconds of the healing effect, she heals, that's whatever. But then after a party member is healed by her, and this includes her C6 recovery, you get some 20% pyro and electro damage bonus, right? So if I shoot him, switch to Raiden, even if you don't actually get any healing, you will get the damage bonus. Okay, before we go test things in Abyss, one last thing I want to test here is actually good old Hu Tao. And the reason I want to test her quick here is because Hu Tao drains 30% of her HP, right? So she's down to 24,000 HP. And then Chevreuse, well, don't want to trigger combat with him, while Hu Tao's on field, will trigger healing stacks. And notably, this drain and gain mechanic, does that sound familiar to any Fontaine characters to you? Yeah, so where I'm going here is that 4-piece Marechaussee Hunters, we could get 4-piece Marechaussee Hunters to work on Polearms only, specifically if we're using Chevreuse, right? And because we have, you know, Chevreuse C6 giving damage bonus, that's giving more damage bonus than is lost from not having Hu Tao above, or sorry, under 50% crit rate from this passive, right? Or crit rate, HP. So what we're going to test here is I'm just going to switch Hu Tao to these pieces quick. And I unfortunately don't have a good HP timepiece, so I'm going to use an attack timepiece, this goofy piece, which is obviously not good for Hu Tao, but it'll let us at least test to see if she gets the crit rate stacks, right? Anyways, let's see how this works. So, do you. What are we at already? We have 2 stacks already? Wow, okay. Yeah, so I just switched to Hu Tao and did like 1 charge attack, and then was already at max stacks, or sorry, I was at 2 out of 3 stacks very quickly, right? So you get the drain, and then you get a heal right away, and then 2 more seconds, you get another heal. So realistically, at max, you only have to wait 4 seconds, although I think in practice, it'll be less than 4 seconds most of the time. That's very cool. So I'll have to play around more with this team, with Hu Tao and Marechaussee Hunters, and see if I really like it, and how it feels and whatever in the future. But got some more farming to do on that regard. Alright, it's time to play around with Cyno teams. So the Cyno team variation is kind of the same thing as with Raiden was, right? Just with Cyno instead of Raiden. And I do have a C2 Cyno, notably, but even with C2 Cyno, on like a normal Cyno team this count, because, you know, our only Dender option is Yaoyao, and Yaoyao is not great, in my opinion, for a Dender unit for Cyno. I could do Aggravate Cyno, but it just wasn't up to par. But I'm fairly confident Chevreuse with an Overload Cyno will be a lot better than Aggravate Cyno, on this account at least. Okay, I need to make sure well, oh god, I keep pressing the wrong button. I need to make sure I use Xiangling's burst after I use the other characters, because otherwise Xiangling is not going to be applying Pyro while I'm doing Cyno, And having extra pyro application up during his burst is very important for Dwarf Beast Slendery Fury. Really? This is not the ideal field to fight enemies in. Okay. Obviously, Cyno's burst is still lasting forever. I think we're running into the... Okay. Initial impressions are I don't... Cyno still has problems. So I don't know. We're gonna try that again because it was a little bit scuffed when I fell off of the platform.
Don't get too close. I got you covered.
Okay. Do this, do that, do Xiangling, do her E. Okay, don't jump on boxes or anything. Oh, did I not get enough reactions to trigger that? Okay, interesting. And Xiangling burst is over. Okay. I think I'm gonna have to try this team in Abyss to get a better feel of it, because, I don't know. It doesn't feel as good as Raiden does to me instead of Cyno, right? It is what I can tell you right now. And it's largely just Cyno problems. It's better to have, you know, Raiden's short DPS window rather than Cyno's long extended DPS window is the feeling I'm getting. Alright, gave Cyno my Staff of Scarlet Sands to give him the best shot possible. We'll obviously move to an EM timepiece as well. Alright, there we go. I tweaked around Cyno's build a bit, so he's got 1940 attack, 317 EM, 74 crit rate, 214 crit damage, 123 ER. Might not be enough ER, but we're going to find out. I'm going to test out Cyno in the second half, which might seem weird, but I actually want to test the second half because it's a little bit more AoE focused, and I want to see the effect of the overloads if it causes that much of a problem. I still can't really say positively that this is particularly meaningfully better than, you know, the other variations, with Raiden instead, but it's interesting is all I'll say. And we had a little bit of energy issues there, but, you know. Oop. Oh, I missed a Cyno proc. Okay. Oh well. Alright, these enemies get knocked around a bit, but the thing with overload, and I think people overestimate the degree to which it causes issues sometimes. And the reason I believe that is because you can use it to group enemies if you're being smart with it. Okay, yeah, Cyno still probably doesn't have enough energy recharge, although I also didn't necessarily get enough skill procs in the previous enemy wave. Okay. I think I like DPS Chevreuse more than I like Cyno. It's weird. Like, Cyno feels satisfying to play, but it just like feels like he doesn't perform. We still 3-starred there without a problem. And like this is still a very positive sign, I want to say, for Cyno, for this account at least. The reason being is just because Cyno never felt good before, and now he feels pretty decent. He just still has Cyno burst last too long problems, basically, and energy issues. Overall, this is honestly a really easy Abyss for this account. So it's kind of a hard... Oh, I made that up. Whatever. Let's do this. It's kind of hard to like properly judge much on this account. Why are you over here? And until I get like harder Abyss cycles, because you saw I had 2 minutes at the start here. But I don't know. Cyno is still feeling like decently better. And like against the slimes, the overload didn't cause the problems I thought it might cause. And I don't know why I'm continuing with that. I was talking, so I wasn't paying attention. Let's do that. Ah, frick, I really need to do Chevreuse first. Because I'm wasting uptime on overloads when I'm doing that. Let's kill the thingies. And I don't... The amount of poise break that you do on enemies is potentially really significant, I want to be clear. It's quite interesting. To be able to stagger enemies a lot, and that's like staggering enemies a lot is a nice form of defensive utility, is essentially what I'm saying. But all in all, I can say that like Cyno feels much better in this team, I'd say, in the Abyss there than he ever has before for me. And like I've never ever felt like I could properly use him in the Abyss, and now I feel like I can. And that's very cool. That's really, really cool, honestly. It's a little bit unfortunate that I think it might be worse than just using Raiden in place of Cyno, but, you know, it's nice that I have new team options to use in case I want to use Raiden, for example. Say there's an Abyss cycle where Raiden Hyperbloom with Candace and Yaya makes sense for me. If I'm doing Raiden Hyperbloom or some variation of that, I could maybe do on the other side of Abyss this team, right? And that might be the right team for me, depending on what other options I have available and what the Abyss needs. So more team options is good. The fact that Cyno feels like a usable character now, when despite the fact that I even had a C2 before, he really didn't to me. And it's kind of just what I was excited for in the first place, was giving some new life to characters being used in new ways and new team compositions that wasn't really a thing you did before. And yeah, that's pretty cool. Alright, so the last thing I want to try here is actually with Raiden on her traditional build again. So I gotta screw up all of my artifacts again. Put Shuttling on her slightly weaker catch build, and we'll see how that performs in Abyss here. Okie dokie. Let's see how this goes. Do this, because you might fly up in the air. Nope, you didn't. Okay, good. Do this. Nice 141,000. And now you're flying there. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this team does against the Tulpa in particular, because when I've done the Tulpa without having Zhongli, it's been a bit of a ow experience. What I would describe it as. Can you go to your next phase, sir? Please? Yeah, I don't know. Traditional Raiden and right now, I'm still kind of same as earlier as what I felt. Traditional Raiden feels approximately the same as as the other one does. Okay, something interesting there. I was able to kill that enemy without nice 180k there. Oh yeah, very nice. Yeah, I was able to kill that enemy with just Chevreuse's damage, which is pretty good. And that was a good, fast clear. That felt good. Okay, we got no energy up here, but that's fine. I think an interesting test for any like good team is always to see how they can feel if they have some issues with burst at the start of Abyss Chambers. Alright, kill you. Ow. Can you stop interrupting? God, this freaking butthole, dude. And blam. That was not very much damage. I think I didn't crit. What a surprise with 63% crit rate. Okay, do Chevreuse's... Oh, I screwed up something with Chevreuse's skills. Oh, I think there's... I must have... I didn't crit again! I didn't... Whatever, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, I don't know. I really have no idea if the hybrid build or the this traditional build is going to be better. I think most people would prefer a traditional build with Chevreuse and Raiden, to be clear. But... man, I love using Chevreuse's C4. I know it might not be awful, but you can definitely fit it into a Raiden rotation, whereas you can't with Cyno. And that makes Chevreuse herself much more fun. Alright, let's try everyone's best friend. I actually really enjoy fighting the Tulpa, but he is a bit difficult. Let's see if we can get any big numbers from... oh yeah, we're seeing big numbers from her. No, use you. Nice, okay. Oh god, oh god, I'm stuck on his hitbox. Frick. Okay, it's fine. Wait, it didn't die. Die, please. Thank you. Do you... frick, I did her skill first by accident. My bad. With C4, if you want to use her extra skills, you really gotta not do that. Okay, do you. Alright, kill that. Alright, we got that back. We still don't have this back. Oh boy. Alright, this is what I get for screwing up all my things. Anyway, this didn't feel that bad. This was actually pretty good. That felt just as good as when I used Hu Tao against the Tulpa, by the way. Hu Tao, you know, who's always getting guaranteed vapes against the Tulpa. So, you know, that's a strong team is what I'm saying. Yep, that was, I think that was the fastest I ever cleared this Abyss. So, that chamber at least, for what it's worth. All in all, because the Abyss is so easy, this round, like, for reference, the previous Abyss cycle, when I 36 started it with the one with all the lectors, for this account, it took me like 12 hours of optimization to figure it out, and after I figured it out and figured out the right way to do it, it didn't take 12 hours. It took more than like 2 hours to clear it. but I can easily consistently 36 star like every single time in this cycle, and which is to say, depending on the Abyss cycle, Abysses can be very hard or very easy. So I don't know how relevant Chevreuse will be. I can pretty confidently say now, with the testing I've done, and hopefully it's been obvious to you through like me showing it, is that she's pretty much as good as I expected for the account. She enables a lot more team versatility that I didn't have before. Right, the fact that I can make Raiden work on a traditional build on Polearms only is impressive. The fact that, you know, I can make Cyno work better, and the fact that I can potentially reach higher DPS threshold Hu Tao teams if I get, you know, better Mara, say, artifacts and whatever. This is a really cool character. I'm really enjoying her on this DPS build, by the way, like kind of more than I thought I would. Like, yes, you get bigger damage number from Raiden, but I think having the ability to front load some damage from Chevreuse herself, like when you do burst into 3 skills utilizing her C4, she can deal a meaningful amount of damage. Like, she can deal 200,000 damage in a pretty quick fashion, and that's really cool. And if you have someone like Fischl, right, like I mentioned in this video a few times, you do Fischl inside of Toma, you could trigger overloads in Chevreuse every single time on those too. So, I don't know. All in all, this is a really fun character. I think this team is definitely the one I'm going to stick to the most, be it with Raiden on a traditional build or a hybrid build. I'll have to play around more with that to figure out which I like more. But I really, really, really like this character. She's super fun. And I certainly, when I heard that she was going to be a Pyro Polearm, I was like, oh boy, yay, a Pyro Polearm. That's what Polearms only needs more of. But nope, I was wrong. Turns out she's one of my favorite characters that they've ever released, at least for this account. I'm going to have to test her more on my main account. And yeah, I don't know. I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you want to see more videos, be it like with Chevreuse or with whatever other shenanigans I get up to. Thanks for watching.